The theme from The Last of the Mohicans, if you were wondering, how do I know that song so well? It's one of my favorites to play. One time I had a gentleman say, that makes me want to run. And I took that the right way. It makes him want to exercise, not run away. This is one of my favorites from the late, great Benny King. When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Whoa, stand by me. Whoa, stand now. Stand by me. Stand by me. If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, or the mountains should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Whoa, stand by me. Whoa, stand down. Stand by me. Stand by me. Whenever you're in trouble, you just stand by me. Whoa, stand by me. Whoa, stand down. Stand by me. Stand by me. Cha, cha, cha. So excited for Loveworks, leadership, and all of their success. This is a song that I wrote that I feel speaks volumes to the work that is being done in Norman, Oklahoma, and around the world. It's based upon a poem by Ralph Waldo Emerson titled Success. This is my version. What is success? I had a friend, he once was a young man. We shared a meal one day. He asked me how my life was going. I answered him, okay. Then he posed an interesting question I could not understand. He asked how I had lived my life. Was I a successful man? I asked. What is success? It is to laugh often and much, and to leave the earth a better place. What is success? It is to earn the affection of children, and to ease a life through your living ways. That is success. I was born with a laugh, and I learned how to cry. I know life is faring me well. I now have the wrinkles that only time gives, a story my smile can tell. I work in my garden, my children are grown, and 4 generations live near. I can attest, I have lived a full life, now I must go. My grandson is here, oh that is success. It is to laugh often and much, and to leave the earth a better place. Oh, what is success? It is to earn the affection of children, and to ease a life through your living ways. Oh, that's my success. I have laughed often and much, and left the earth a better place. Oh, that's my success. I have earned the affection of children, and eased the life through my living ways. Oh, that's my success. And I wish you continued success. Enjoy your evening and good luck.
In this week's episode of Loveworks MasterChef Junior, the stakes have raised and the ages have lowered. 3 little leaders will go head-to-head as they battle it out for the title of MasterChef Junior. These budding gourmands won't be left unsupervised in the kitchen, though. They'll be mentored by the top culinarians at Loveworks leadership. Rusty Leffler, with over 50 years of experience in the restaurant industry, Rusty has made his mark in the Loveworks Culinary Hall of Fame as the head chef on Thursdays and his famous Wagyu beef baked ziti. Daniela Cooper, pastry chef and owner of Coop Cakes, loves whipping up tasty desserts with whimsical flavors and designs. She's been in the Loveworks kitchen since 2019. She's sure to be one tough cookie to please. And Mike Hall, food enthusiast, OKC influencer, he's here to mentor these little leaders into MasterChef shape. Mike is the founder of KM Communities and owns a tiny house, so no one has better experience to know what it's like to cook in a tiny person's kitchen. In this week's challenge, the contestants will be tested in a challenge of versatility, creativity, and speed.
My name is Sam, I am 10 years old, and my favorite food is fried guinea pig.
Welcome to the Master Junior Chef Showdown tonight. We're excited to have you all.
I'm Ellie, and I'm 10, and my favorite food is Mexican food.
3 great chefs.
My name is Amberly, and I'm 7, and my favorite food is strawberries dipped in chocolate.
Little leaders, last week you cooked duck pate en croûte with a homemade Béarnaise sauce. You proved that you deserve to be here in this kitchen. But this week, buckle up because standards have risen and you will be challenged to cook an elevated homemade style dish.
This week you'll be making baked Alaska.
I'm going to challenge you today to make penne pasta with a fresh basil pesto sauce paired with pork tenderloin, grilled to perfection. Are you ready for that?
Peanut butter and jelly?
Yeah!
Your time begins now.
It's gonna take the whole freaking wonder bread of it. My favorite ingredient was the marshmallow fluff.
What are you going to do with those grapes?
I'm gonna put them in these side dishes.
Oh, a little side dish?
The ingredients I used was peanut butter with peanuts in it, and grape jelly with some honey in the sandwich.
What was the part?
There was no more strawberries, so I had to make a Nutella and butter sandwich.
My meal is just a normal peanut butter sandwich with Wonder White bread.
That's very tasty. You did a very good job there. I think my favorite part is the dessert, the signs that you have over here.
I'm really excited to taste this because out of all of them, it has the most peanut butter and jelly. And I think that's an underrated factor in PB&J. It has a nice crunch.
Thank you.
Which sandwich are we going to vote number one? 3 great chefs.
Little leaders, we are so impressed with the dishes that you all prepared. Specifically, a few things that we liked about each of yours was Sam's, what we really liked about yours was it wasn't just the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It was a whole meal. With Ellie, we loved yours. The plating, how it was presented was very beautiful. You had a lot of empty space in the middle. You had your peanut butter and jelly sandwich right on the side. And on the corner, you had your Nutella. Ellie, we loved yours as well. You had a very standard peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You didn't just have a normal one. What you had is you cut it out with butterflies, and you cut it out with hearts for your presentation, and you actually garnished it on the side with some bananas. We thought it looked great, but though all 3 of yours were very, very good, we're all very impressed with all of your cooking skills. What we judged on was primarily just the sandwich itself, the taste and how savory and sweet and salty it was. So our favorite was actually.
So as you can see, LoveWorks is now working with students of all ages, helping them to make their dreams come true, even if it starts out with making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Well, welcome everybody to the LoveWorks campus here in Norman, Oklahoma, where I'm standing. My name is Michael Hirsch, and I'm Executive Director of LoveWorks Leadership. We are so excited about tonight, and it's our hope that you get a chance to experience a couple of things. Number 1, I hope in one way, shape, or form that your cooking skills in the kitchen are slightly elevated by getting the opportunity to kind of rub shoulders with master chefs. And secondly, I hope that your heart is moved when you get the opportunity to see what happens when a young student begins to discover their passion, to see what they are capable of doing. If you're asking me, Michael, what is one part tonight that I'm looking forward to the most? I gotta be honest, I would be really hard pressed to choose. I'm thinking of an opportunity to cook with master chefs in just the next few minutes. Or you're gonna learn about actual for-profit businesses that have been started by middle school students out of LoveWorks. And you're gonna get a chance to hear from alumni students at LoveWorks that just a few years ago walked through the front doors of our LoveWorks campus wearing backpacks. Now, a few years later, they are tax-paying citizens and they're making positive contributions in our community. I'm gonna leave that hard decision up for you to decide. Nonetheless, I hope you absolutely take it all in and that you love it. Well, that's enough for me. I know you're excited to get cooking, and we have Carolyn Lee that's standing by in our LoveWorks Cafe. I'm gonna turn it over to her to explain to you what you're getting ready to experience tonight.
Thanks, Michael. Well, if you're anything like me or our middle school students, you're probably already wondering, when are we gonna get to the food part? Well, go ahead, crack open that bottle of wine or sparkling water because the kitchen is about to get cooking. We are going on a taste bud adventure tonight. We're starting off in Boston with Chef Daniel's vibrant summer corn chowder. After that, we're going down to Texas where the flavors could not get any bigger in Chef Newton's sour cream enchiladas. After that, we're returning home and Chef Gabriel is gonna share with us his elevated chicken pesto pasta. And of course, we're gonna end the night on a sweet note with Chef Fred and Chef Sherry's Flourless chocolate dessert. Yum! Well, I'm not gonna hold you guys any longer, but just so that you know, feel free to pause, rewind, whatever you feel like you missed, and we're also going to be sending out a full replay of tonight's experience for you to watch at your leisure. Well, let's get to cooking. Chef Daniel, the Lion Chef, I'm passing it on to you.
Sorry about that. All right, so sorry about that. All right, welcome. I'm Chef Daniel. First, I want to start out by thanking everybody for taking part in this event. I want to thank everybody at LoveWorks who, put in a lot of work to make this event happen. And I want to thank my fellow chefs for also participating in such a worthy cause. Again, I'm Chef Daniel, and tonight we're going to be making my New England style roasted corn chowder. If you haven't already started, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get a soup or a saucepan, something either this big or something about this size here in the back. You're going to want to get your soup in that. You're going to want to get it heating up, probably about medium high, depending on how well you trust yourself to be on top of it. So if you don't really trust yourself to remember to keep going back and forth and stirring it, keep it around medium. If you're going to be right next to it the whole time, you probably crank it up a little bit to like medium high. While you do that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how we get from what you see here in front of me to what you will be enjoying in a little bit. So in the back here, I have my homemade chicken stock. I use whenever I can, either unsalted or low sodium chicken stock. What that allows me to do is it allows me to control the salt level in the dish from beginning to end. Sometimes if you start out with a stock or a broth that's already heavily seasoned, when you go to cook with it and it starts to reduce, you might get into the problem of it being a little bit salty. So that's one thing I always do is I go with low sodium or no sodium if possible. All right, I have my pan already heating up here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil. I don't want this to be too high. I don't want my olive oil to burn and I don't want my vegetables to burn. And as my base, I'm going to add, I have about 3/4 cups of onion, about a 1/2 cup of celery, and about a 1/2 cup of carrots. And I'm going to go ahead and add those right in. If you can hear that, that means that my oil and my pan are just about where I want them. And basically all I'm doing with these right now is I'm sauteing. I'm just softening them up a little bit. Concentrate that flavor a little bit, cook out some of the liquid. And what that's going to do, rather than just having it boil in the chicken stock, some of those flavors are going to concentrate a little bit. You're going to taste them a little bit more. They're going to get a little bit sweeter. And it's just going to help make everything, the more flavorful dish at the end. While that's sauteing, and again, my chicken stock back here it's on a low boil. That'll just make my process a little bit better and a little bit faster. I'll be able to just add it right in and I'm not going to have to worry about it taking too long to heat up. All right. While that happens, what I have here is I have my roasted corn. There's a couple different ways you can do this. Sorry, my dog's going nuts. There's a couple different ways you can do this. You can either do it on the grill or you can do it under the broiler, which is how I did it for these. If I'm grilling something already for dinner, I'll usually throw it on the grill, but I'm not going to fire up the grill just to do this. I don't find it necessary. I put it right under the broiler on one of the higher racks, and I like to get one side nice and charred, and I let the other side just kind of cook in that residual heat. And then I get a nice mix of corn that's still nice and plump, plus some of that nice charred flavor as well. The best way to get the corn off the cob is you're going to want to stand it up just like this. You're going to want to take a nice sharp knife right around the top here, and you're going to want to cut down and inward a little bit, being careful to get us not too close in so that you're getting into the core there and the actual cob, but you also don't want to leave a lot of corn left on the cob. And this is just something that, the more you do, you'll get a better feel for it. But I find it, whenever I can get corn on the cob, it's always better to get fresh corn. And it doesn't take a ton of work to work with either. So I'm going to do the same thing here with my second one. Making sure to keep an eye on my vegetables over here. I want them to saute, I want them to sweat, but I definitely don't want them to burn. If they get a little bit of color on them, that's okay. Especially, with the roasted corn, that flavor goes well with it, but you definitely don't want them to burn, so you want to keep an eye on them. All right. So now that these are mostly softened up, I'm gonna go ahead and add about 2 cups, maybe a little bit more of chicken stock right in here. That's already coming to a nice boil. Now, one of the things that you're going to want to do here is you're going to want to thicken this a little bit, because we're making a chowder. We're not just making a soup. So the main way that we're going to do that is, in this case, we're going to be using a roux. And what a roux is, if you're not familiar, a roux is equal parts fat and flour. In this case, fat or some sort of starch or thickening agent. I prefer to use roux when I can, but cornstarch is going to be an alternative that you can use where it's going to be less fat if you want to do that. This one here is, I did about 4 tablespoons butter and 4 tablespoons flour. It's probably a little bit more than I need, but I'd rather have a little bit more than I need than not enough, and either end up with a soup that's a chowder that's too thin, or end up having to make more on the fly. So I'm just going to take some of this and I'm going to add it in, and I'm just going to stir. Whenever you're adding a roux or really any type of thickening agent, you want to make sure that you're continuously stirring. And what that's going to do is it's going to prevent lumps from forming, and it's going to make sure you get a nice smooth base in your chowder there. So I'm just stirring this and I'm keeping an eye on it, making sure that it's going to take a few minutes for that roux to kind of activate and thicken. So if it doesn't thicken up right away, that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to add more roux in. It just might mean that it needs to really come to a boil and start to activate a little bit. All right, I'm looking at this and it looks like it could use a little bit more for how I like it. Again, this is really up to you. My wife likes it a lot thinner than I do. I like a nice thick chowder. I like a lot of vegetables and meat in my chowders and soups. So, but if you like more carrots, add more carrots. If you like peas, add peas. You want potatoes, that's fine. This is how I make it. You'll hopefully be enjoying it soon. But the fun thing about cooking is you can play around with it. You can really do whatever it is that you like. And if it works for you, then it works for you. So this is looking good as far as thickness goes. I'm going to lower this a little bit. I'm going to add my corn now. I can add my corn right at the end because it's already cooked. It's already roasted in the broiler. So it's ready to go. I'm just going to stir that in. And as this kind of simmers and boils together for a little bit, all of those flavors are going to come together. That flavor, that corn and those vegetables are going to get into the actual broth, and it's just gonna develop some nice flavor. What I'm adding here is shredded chicken thighs. If you prefer chicken breast, that's fine. If you just want to grab like a rotisserie chicken and shred it apart from the supermarket, that's fine too. I prefer the thighs. I think they have a little bit more flavor. They take a little bit longer to cook, but that's okay. I cooked them right in my chicken broth. I pulled them out. I shredded them by hand after they cooled. Now I'm going to go ahead and add that in there as well. And I'm going to stir this all together. All right. Now that I have that all nice and hot and ready to go, I'm going to clear a little bit of space. And this soup is, at this point, it's more or less ready to go. The majority of the time that goes into making this soup goes into that homemade chicken broth that I make. That takes much longer to make than the soup itself. So feel free, you don't always have to do it homemade. I usually, if I buy a whole chicken or I'm making chicken, whatever I have left over as far as bones go, I'll save. And then when I'm ready for a stock, I'll just pull them out. So, that's something that you can do. It's not that hard, but if you don't feel like doing it, you can go to the supermarket and just get some low sodium or unsalted chicken stock and use that. All right. I have some fresh herbs here, just a little bit of parsley for a little bit of extra color. I'm going to go ahead and chop that up. Got my bowl. Got our ladle. and place that right in the bowl here. A little bit of the fresh greens. And that right there is our New England roasted corn chowder. Right now, corn's in season in New England. It's really nice. It's really sweet. So this is something that I've actually been making. This is the time of year that I make it the most. So if you know that there's some good corn right now, wherever you are, that's definitely something I would recommend doing. Thank you very much again for taking part in this event. I hope you enjoyed the rest of the night. We got a lot of great things coming, a lot of great food, a lot of great chefs. LoveWorks has done some great things. They have a lot of great alumni out there. They're just doing some really amazing stuff. And right now, we want you to hear the story of one of those special alumni, Kyla. So go ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chef Daniel. I'm Kyla. I'm a LoveWorks alumni. I've actually been here since 6th grade, quite a few years. I've gone through all the programs. I was even an intern here for a couple of years as well. But I will say middle school is hard. It's a hard time for students. You have so much boundless energy and nothing productive to do with your time. But when I started LoveWorks, I was surrounded by students with similar interests as me and learning about leadership as well. And there's even the mentors there who have a genuine interest in you and want to offer encouragement and guidance for you as well. I found my own mentor and she stuck with me through it all, and I will say she has been more shaping of my character than anything outside of LoveWorks ever could have been. And I found my own desire to help people, my own passion. And through that, I've been able to join and become a coordinator for one of LoveWorks' programs, Raising Little Leaders, where we teach young children the importance of reading and the value of leadership at such a young age. I'm also a student second year at the University of Oklahoma, where I get to be a public and nonprofit administration major. My hope is to one day become a grant writer so that I can fund programs just like this to help the community. And speaking of funding, I've also become a donor for LoveWorks so that I can continue to give back and fund the growth and the leadership development of students coming from similar situations just like me. So thank you, not only for listening to my story, but for making all of this possible.
There we go. Yeah.
Hello, I'm Cowboy Chef Newton from Lipan, Texas, in the great state of Texas, and thank you all for showing up. We're going to do one of my favorite specialties. It's we got to tilt that camera up a little bit. Here they go. And we're going to do one of my favorites. It's going to be sour cream chicken enchiladas, and this is kind of a favorite of mine. This is something I remembered as a kid. So let's have a good time. One thing we're going to do is if you start looking at this, we're going to do some things. We're going to actually get a little science and technology started early tonight. Put that in here. But let's start with sauteing our vegetables here. I've got some carrots. I got some red bell pepper, yellow bell pepper. We got a little purple onions here. And we're getting started over here on the stove, Mel. I need to get the camera on me over here doing this. And we're going to get this going right here. So we're going to get these sauteing on the pan right here. Get them going right now. And when I do this, I also start my sour cream sauce. So it's 3 cups of sour cream. It's 3 cups of heavy cream. And we're going to start it a little bit early this evening. And then you're going to add your seasonings to this. One of the seasonings on all this that you look at. And then we're going to do the chicken breast. So you got a couple chicken breasts here.
God, this is terrible.
That's okay. We're going to season them up a little bit.
Great technical difficulties.
We're going to get them a little seasoned up. We're going to brown these off. Salt and pepper. Get them going here. And what we want to do is we want to get them seasoned up nice, and you're going to sear them hot in the pan. Now, you want to sear them, let them go, but, since we're saving a little bit of time, and then we're going to let them sit out and rest, and then we're going to let them, and then we're going to shred up here.
I can turn it around, and I can follow you. All right. Turn around.
There we go. Sorry, a little technical difficulty here. We'll have them light.
There we go.
I was telling them earlier about living in Lipan, our internet service. We actually have to put aluminum foil on our internet service so we get good service to deal with it. So we've got our vegetables sauteing right now. And you want to saute them down to where they're really nice. They start to get a little translucent, purple onions. And one thing I always like to tell you about a recipe, when you look at this recipe, and my recipes, I always like to say, they're just a guideline, adapt and improvise. You don't like chicken, you can substitute in some carnitas, you can steak. If you're a vegetarian, leave it out, just add more veggies. the cheese, use the selection of cheeses. I like to use a lot of the different Mexican cheeses, whether it's, you use the queso fresca, the asado, asaderos. You can use all those different types of cheeses. So let it be your guideline, but deviate from and have a little bit of fun with them. So once you get these sauteed down, and of course, this is a crazy stove here. It takes a little bit while. You've got this kind of blended. You go 20 minutes on your sour cream here and your heavy cream. And what you want to do is get to a nice, thick flavoring. And all this becomes the assembly of it. Now, when I do my tortillas, what I do, you can dip and put a frying pan in with a little bit of oil. I like to use a fryer. I keep a fryer up in my kitchen all the time. Of course, I'm from the South. If it ain't fried, it ain't cooking. So you just drop these in there for literally about 10 seconds, let them go. You bring them out and just let them sit there. And what they'll do, I got asbestos fingers. I just roll them back over and let them pull the rest of the grease over and just get all that grease off of it. And then I bring it over here. Oh my goodness. You let them sit. And if you got a little bit too much oil on it, you can take a little paper towel, block that off if you like. I like it. I generally let my oils be a little flavored. What I mean, they're a little bit used, so you get it, put it in there. And the first step, so you got your sauteed vegetables, you got your sauteed chicken, you got a little fresh cheese, a little combination cheese here. We got a little sliced jalapeno. And what I do is I start off with a little bit of shredded chicken. You shred your chicken up nicely, put it on here, just get it in. Again, any other meat you wish to use, you can use. Venison, whatever you like, a little pheasant. I like using pheasant. I'm a little bit of a bird hunter, so I like to use them in there. Great way to hide it and sneak it away from your friends. And then just take it and roll it up. Now, if you're going to notice, we're using a little bit of a red tortilla. Just get a fold on it. You don't have to have it perfect. Bring it on over. Even if they split out, they're okay. This one split out on us. This one right here, flip it over. Again, we're going to do it again. Repeat step again. A little bit of chicken. You don't want to put too much on there. There's a lot of flavor in these. Then you're going to add your sauteed vegetables a little bit more. This is, again, if you're a vegetarian or vegan, I guess you wouldn't be putting cheese on if you're vegan. But as a vegetarian, you use the vegetables you like. Just saute them up, put them on over here, and you get them going. So one thing once you do, what I do is I generally will put these in the oven, start them off early. And you can put your sauce on them. But what I like to do is put them in the oven and let them go. It'll kind of get them a little bit of crispy on the outside, and I'll go back and add the sauce. You can do it all at once, and it works out really nicely. But when you're sauteing your vegetables, one thing I like to always go back to, get your vegetables in there, get them going, then you season them with your Mexican oregano. And people ask about a Mexican oregano and saying, hey, what's the difference between that and Italian? I find Mexican oregano to be a little bit sweeter, has a little bit more of an unctuous flavor. And then I add the cumin. And, and if you look at these are a lot of Mediterranean flavors that are, they're brought into a Southwest style cooking or Mexican cooking. And cumin, a little bit goes a long way. Some people like to use garlic. One thing it's hard to do is when you use it, you never know what you'll get with a garlic clove. Lots of times it can be really garlicky. It can be really pungent, or it can be flat, man. Flat as the West Texas highway. So one thing to do is if you put some in there, you can always add a little bit of garlic powder. I don't like adding salt. I always want to control my salt factor. And I use kosher salt. And one thing you need to think about using kosher salt is it doesn't have that iodized salty taste. So you can always add a little bit. You never take the salt out, but a little bit of time, add a little bit, and keep on going. I'm going to saute these vegetables up. I don't know what's going on with this thing.
Let me turn it up.
I got it. Oh, good. And you notice now, our sauce is getting a little bit thicker. I use this little bitty old spatula, and I got to joke about that. I got this at a grocery store about almost 9 years ago. It's been the best spatula I ever had. It has Santa Claus on it, but I use it, and everybody kind of makes fun of it. But so get it, and let your sauce just come to a real nice thick flavor. If you want to add your salt, pepper, your cumin, and all that, and you want to kind of get a nice thick coating on that. And so as you go with that, and as we cook with these two, you notice now it's coming up to flavor. Just give it a little shake here. Let it get a little brown. I like it brown and crispy. That little burnt flavor gives you a nice, and that's not burnt. It's just where it starts to brown. It gives that little kind of roasted flavor to it. That's a nice little component to add to your food. It gives you another profile. So now we're having cheese, we're having chicken, we're having these roasted vegetables. I'm using some red tortillas, really can't taste the difference in them. But when I do them in my oil is actually, I call it a seasoned oil. I've used it already. I use a fryer a lot. And sometimes I just do it like even with these vegetables, you put those fryers and put the vegetable. And so every time you put that into this oil, season. Now let me tell you, don't use fish and then go to beef with it because it just kind of ruins it. But it's type of thing. Same thing if you're using a cast iron skillet. I don't know if you know, I'm a kind of a cast iron nut. I got over probably 60, 70 pieces of cast iron. Dutch ovens out the rear end. But, you know, each of those will impart a certain flavor to it with it. So, again, going back to it, go into your kitchen and go ahead. Now, this may seem a little grainy, but when it cooks up and it sets up, it really, really changes the profile. I'm going to reduce this down to a low now. And then now we put our components together. We put them in the oven. There's some other things we want to do. We can garnish with some cilantro. You can take your avocados here. I always like pop seed. This one may be a little silly look because when I got this one, the seed was already missing out of the top of it, not the one on the inside, the little seed on the top of it. Let's see. Yep, that's ugly as the day is long. So, these are a little rough. Here's one that's pretty rough. We'll see. My avocado has been a little tough lately to get because we have to go about 30 miles to shop. And sometimes, I'll take a peek first. And it's all right. But see how they get a little bit brown? They won't go to waste. I'll use them for something else. And jalapenos. When I'm shopping for a jalapeno, you want it to be smooth and waxy on the outside. If they get a little bit shriveled on them, they're okay, but it has a tendency to say they've sat out there a little bit long. But look how nice that skin is. It's not sure this doesn't come off super easy. And so we're going to cut these up. And when I like to cut these on the bias. Bias, you just cut them on a little bit of an angle. And people say the seeds are hot. It's not the seeds that are in the jalapeno. It's actually the veins. It's the cavation. But I like using those. My wife has this tendency not to like them. You never really know. So I always say recommend trying one of the jalapenos and always try to get the little tips of it, like down here, and just have it. Oh my goodness. It's got a great sweet flavor to it. It's not very hot. It has some good flavor to it. And so we just get these all ready to go. So now that we got those, I put them in the oven, not the onion. And so look how they are. Yeah, that one split out. Don't let that bother you. We're going to cover it up now with a little bit of sauce. So I come over here and get my ladle. And here's something I want to say about sauce. Generally, I think sauce is an accoutrement to a dish, but when it comes to enchiladas, it is the dish. Look at that pretty red color there. You got this going on. It's white on top. You see the little pepper flakes. You see the sour cream. Well, now, if you don't like sour cream, you can always change it out for like a little Alfredo sauce, but do a little Mexican style, which is going to be a little bit of butter, a little heavy cream, queso fresco, and then we're going to add our jalapenos. Now, if you got someone you know that doesn't like jalapenos, go ahead and slide one under the gravy and don't tell them. I'm just joking. But you can go along, just be a little symmetrical with it. Put them here. Put them here. Give it a little time. Looking pretty here. Give it all time. Now, we're going to slide this back in the oven. We'll probably shoot this across the room. Oh, forgot one thing, important thing. Well, look at me getting ahead of myself.
Cheese.
My queso. You should put the queso on before that, but hey, look at this.
I just thought you were going to come back and have it.
No, I just dropped the ball on that one, but that's okay, guys. I was perfect. And so now we put this in there. Put it down there. Put it going. Now, you remember we put the other stuff that was in there. Clean up my plate here.
While you're doing that, Chef, you do have a question.
And that question being?
What can you do with avocados that you do not want to use as garnish, like the ones in the sink?
Well, what I do with them, I pull them out, put a little lime with them, you put a little heavy cream with them, and then you can whisk them into a sauce. It'll be a little bit different colored sauce, but it makes a nice avocado cream sauce. You can put it with a little bit of fresh tuna. We got a little poke in our refrigerator from last night's dinner we had at the restaurant. But take it and, just use those for that. The color doesn't really give it a bad taste unless it's really, really dark. when they discolor like that. But what they do is they give you a nice little flavor. You're using the sauce, puree it up, make it a little bit. I actually have a friend that loves to make this kind of cream, almost an ice cream type. Add it to that, give yourself a little avocado. Try not to waste. These aren't going to go waste. They're just sitting in the sink. They will not go to waste. So now we're going to bring out the fun part. Yes. Look at this, guys. Look at these enchiladas. I don't care what you say. If you don't like enchiladas, you need to go have your head examined. It's one of those things I think you do. Look how those came out. Get yourself a nice, generally like this, I always kind of say it's like the first piece of lasagna you pull off. It's going to get destroyed a little bit. So that one always goes to the person you like the best, and usually that's me. Because I like these, see? Get them in there. You can cut it a little bit beforehand, just separate them a little bit. Look at that. Look at that gooey cheese. Get them on here. Look at this. Get them on the plate. We're going to put a little angle. If you want, you can add a little more sauce to it. Just around the plate. I don't know. Again, the sauce goes a long way. A little bit extra sauce on the side. There we go. Those are getting nice and toasted. Give yourself a little bit of cilantro. I don't even chop it up. One thing about cilantro, I like putting cilantro on and leaving it whole like this. And because I like jalapenos, put a little bit extra jalapenos on there. And then you can serve that just like it is. So that's the presentation of it. Now we're going to go back to these sauteed vegetables. I know we do this something a little bit backwards, but I want to see the end result. See how they're starting to get brown on the edges? You know what that is? That's flavor. And that's where the fat and all this from the butter. You got a little heat in there. You got a little bit of acid coming out of the onions. A little bit of sugar's coming out of there, so they brown up nicely. So it gives you this nice caramelization on them. And just have them come out. And then I just take them and add them back into. Put them back in here. And it's also, if you like those, take these and serve them. Do a little bed of these. Serve your enchiladas on those, such as that. Let me turn this oven. Get enough oven in here. One thing that you can do is, by the way, welcome to the ugly kitchen. That's a nice little start. That's going to be mine. Take yourself a little bit of the tones. I lost my tones. Well, that's okay. A little bit of the tones. I lost my tones. Well, that's okay. I got extra back here. I don't know what I know. What's the heck's going on with the kitchen? So you got a little extra tones here. Take some vegetables if you like. Set them down the plate. Here you go. Press up a little bit of sauce. Not much. Let's go back to plating. Again, give yourself a little cut. Look at that. Look at that. Look at there. Whoever gets this one's going to be a good one. This might be for my wife, Melanie, my cameraman / host, confidant, best friend. Look at that. Add yourself again. Is there another question, or did I lose y'all? Okay, here we go. Get some more cilantro there. And I know my wife loves jalapenos. So we're going to put a little extra jalapeno on there for her. Look there, y'all. Just step back and kiss myself around the lips after that one. So I just showed you a couple of variations there. I want you just to look at this. And so think about a recipe. A recipe is just guidance, man. Just look at it. Look what you have in your refrigerator. I keep tortillas around this house by the gross. And so there's always something always good. I think I came in last night from a function. We didn't get home till like midnight. Got a little steak left over, grab a tortilla, put some steak on it, put a little cheese, a little sour cream, a little jalapenos, and get on down to town. And so that's one thing I really like about it. So look what you got. You know, you got some chicken, maybe you got some fish, you got whatever you want. You repurpose that food. Don't waste not. I grew up on my own. I started out when I was very young, on my age, 16 years, started living on my own. And I had to make do with what I had. So enchiladas, tacos, and those type of things really, really kind of are some things that you can use. I tell you, I've done tuna fish tacos. I did actually chicken fried tuna tacos one time. They were great. They were a little jalapeno cream sauce. So I just want you to think about it. I want to thank y'all for taking time. And I want to thank Loveworks for giving me the opportunity to be with y'all tonight, share a little time with you, to have a little bit of fun. And always reach out to me. You can find me at cowboychefnewton.com. You can find us at a restaurant coming up to our restaurant in Steveville, Texas, not far from Lipan, called Newton Cellar. But just reach out to me if you have any questions. I'm always open to you. If you can find my phone number online, give me a call. I prefer you to call me about 2 or 3 in the morning, usually when I get up, because if you don't, I will call you at 2 or 3 in the morning if you want me to. So I look forward to it. I love y'all. Thanks for being part of my world. And thank you for allowing me to be a part of your world. Y'all have a great weekend. Happy cooking. Have a great time. See y'all later from the Ugly Kitchen.
Thank you, Chef Newton. Hi there, my name is Patrick, and today I'm going to be telling you my story. First, a little background. I am a junior at the University of Oklahoma, and I am studying accounting and finance. In 7th grade, I moved to Norman, and I didn't really know what I was going to be doing, but I knew I wanted to be a basketball star. Soon found out that you have to be fast and kind of good at basketball to make the team, which I was neither one of those at the time. So I had to figure out something else to fill my time, and I learned about Loveworks leadership. And over the last 8 years, Loveworks leadership has meant so much to me. It helped me find a passion for personal growth, not only with myself, but with others. I love being able to help students not only find their passion here at Loveworks and become better leaders, but just better men and women to grow up into. I believe it's been a very influential organization, not only for me, but for every student that walks through these doors. Thank you guys so much for listening to my story, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your meal.
Thank you for joining us again for the Elevate Dinner. I'm coming live from the amazing Loveworks kitchen, where all of the amazing sauces and everything are made from scratch here. Today, I'm going to be showing you a very simple but delicious pesto penne pasta with roasted chicken. Now, with this dish, you can also supplement, seared chicken. You can supplement your pasta if you want to do something longer. But there's specific reasons why we're going to do this dish. So I'm going to go ahead and walk you through our ingredients, and then we're going to delve right into the cooking. So, to start off, we have our amazing, beautiful, vibrant green pesto. This is made with delicious basil, some spinach, parsley, garlic, lemon, Parmesan cheese. Just makes your mouth water. So from there, we're going to go with our amazing roast chicken. Now, like I said, you can supplement this for a seared chicken breast. If you want to do a smoked chicken, you can kind of do that. Just balance it out a little bit with some lemon to kind of cut it. Then we're going to move on to our pasta. Now, today we're going to do penne pasta. Penne pasta has great ridges on the outside of the pasta. This allows for the pasta to grip that pesto sauce very nicely so that we're not lacking any sauce in our dish. Now, as always with any dish, we got to have our seasonings, and we're just going to do some nice brown pepper and some kosher salt. And we're going to adjust as we need to. So as any chef would tell you, tasting your food while you're making it is key. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and start. Now, if you don't have, say, a lot of pesto or more pesto that you would like, you can always start with a little bit of oil. For me, I like to add a little oil just to thin things out a little bit. So I'm just going to add maybe about a tablespoon just to coat the pan very nicely. We're going to go over medium heat. Now, if you're working on an electric burner, you might have a number that ranges from 1 to 10 or 1 to 8. You're just going to split the difference. So if you're on 1 to 8, go to 4. If you're on 1 to 10, go to 5. You'll follow along with it. So from there, when we have our oil sitting in the pan, it's heating up very nicely. This is when we're going to add a couple of tablespoons of our pesto. Now, when we do this, not only is it going to allow some of that amazing oil from the garlic and the basil and the parsley to become, vibrant, fragrant in the air to entice people in your house to want to eat this pesto pasta, but it's also going to allow it to thin out a little bit. That way we can have a nice sauce to coat the pasta. So we're going to add about 2 tablespoons to start. We're going to take our trusty little tongs here. Got to pinch them to make sure they work. And we're just going to swirl our pan a little bit. Now you can see that's kind of thinned out a little. That 2 tablespoons is already almost gone halfway around the circumference of our pan. That's exactly what we want. From there, we're going to take our amazing al dente pasta, our penne pasta. We're going to go right into the pan. Now what this does is allows that extra oil in the pesto to kind of coat this pasta nicely and stops it from sticking. So if you can tell, we have a nice surface area coverage here on our pasta, on our penne. It's starting to get nice and green and vibrant. It's still a little bit light. Personally, I love fresh pasta, fresh pesto. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go in with about another 2 tablespoons. And what this does is just adds a nice, vibrant color to our pesto, but it also seasons our pasta at the same time. So you can see all I'm doing is simply tossing it in the pan. Very simple. No chef magic here, that comes later. And you can see now, you even have the tiny bits of the parsley and the spinach and the basil. And you can ask anybody that's around this vicinity right here, it's starting to smell nice, fragrant, vibrant. We got that basil coming through. We have that nice sharp garlic. We have that amazing, rich, sumptuous, but slightly sharp Parmesan cheese just oozing through. And it's just an amazing array of smells here in the Loveworks kitchen. So from there, I'm gonna go ahead and taste one of the penne, just to not detract from the dish. The cheese has coated the pasta so nicely that it's nice and creamy. Our pesto sauce is very vibrant, so that basil helps to kind of level out that sharpness of that pasta and that cheese combination. And now we're starting to get a little sizzle here. So once we do that, the cheese that's in our pesto will begin to crisp up a little bit, have that nice crispy edge and ridge to our tubular pasta that just makes this pesto pasta so much more inviting. So now that we're sizzling a little bit, you have your roast chicken. Now, again, if you want to take some shredded smoked chicken, if you want to take, your leftover chicken and fold it into this, that pesto covers up that kind of day-old flavor very nicely, so you're not going to miss a beat. So with our pasta and pesto simmering together, we're going to go ahead, top it off with our chicken. And then we're just going to do the same thing. We're just going to toss. Now, personally, at this point, I like to adjust my seasoning. So I'm going to start with the pepper. And then I'm just going to do a dash of salt. Now, there's an old chef saying that, you can always add more salt, but you can't take it away. So it's very true in this case, especially with the amount of flavors that we're trying to balance in this dish. We cannot take away, so we're only going to add very, very delicately. So while we're letting that cook together for a little bit, if you didn't see it coming, we're adding more pesto. So we're going to go in with about another 2 tablespoons. What this does is allows the pesto to completely coat in the dish. It doesn't detract from the pesto. It's already coated the penne, so you're not worried about bland pasta, and everything is going to plan. So I'm going to give my pan a little shake, a little tong action there. And the easiest way to coat your pasta is just pinch and move, pinch and move. So what I'm doing is I'm pinching my pasta and dropping it, just so that everything gets nice and evenly coated. Smell that Parmesan, it is to die for. All right, so at this point, we're gonna taste and adjust our seasoning one more time. Oh man. So the basil's now come through. It's become the predominant flavor, accented with the garlic, hit with the cheese. Nice, delicious, vibrant flavors coming from that chicken. Nice citrus notes there. So what I'm gonna do is just add some fresh lemon juice while this is cooking. This is gonna give levity to the dish that's already relatively light, but it's also gonna cut through those herbs very nicely so that it balances the flavors from your chicken, from your herbs, from your cheese, from your pasta. It's all about balance. So we're just gonna go right over top. And once more, now I'm doing this with lemon wedges. If you're gonna be doing it with, say, a half of a lemon that has seeds in it, you can squeeze over your hand to make sure that you catch the seeds so you don't have, that random one bite of bitter lemon seeds. Just gonna go once more. And I'm a pepper person myself, so I'm just gonna hit it with a little bit of pepper. That is beautiful. So now that we have our dish assembled, we're going to make room for ourselves. We're going to get everything in its place. So a nice chef term for that is mise en place. It means that all of our things are in its space, prepped and ready. So as you've seen, we had everything laid out in the kit today. We had everything ready to just kind of get up and go. We're going to do the same thing with plating. So you have your plate ready. And I like to use a spoon. This is my most versatile tool in the kitchen, apart from a chef knife and a cast iron. This allows me to have control over my plating and also allows me to portion the way that I need to. So if you can see a little bit, when I pull this back, we have some nice crisp edges developing now on our penne pasta. It's exactly what we want. That's that Parmesan cheese crisping up like a cheese crisp on a dish. Absolutely beautiful. All right. So now that that's done, we're going to turn off our heat. Solid plate ready. Spoon in hand. We're going to take our pasta, start in the middle of the plate, and stack it up. Middle of the plate, stack it up. I'm telling you, that crispy Parmesan cheese is just mouth-watering. It's hard for me not to eat this while I'm talking to you. And for anybody that may or may not have a nut allergy, if you want to do this without pine nuts, you can absolutely do that. Just supplement the pine nuts with some extra Parmesan cheese. It's going to give that pesto the same body that it would with pine nuts. At the same time, you're not worried about the allergic reactions. You're, have a pasta and pesto that's more palatable for everyone, and it's just easier and cleaner. So if you want to do that, you absolutely can. And if you're anything like me, you're still going to finish with a little bit more lemon on top. And if you're wondering why I have the towel, there's a couple of reasons. So usually I have one or two. In this instance, we have one. This is going to be cleaning up. We'll take it around. Clean our plate. Garnish with a little pepper. And there you have it, folks. That is our chicken penne pesto pasta with roasted chicken. So once again, we appreciate everybody that joined us for the Elevate dinner. I'm now going to hand it over. We're going to roll right into one of the amazing businesses that Bloodworks has given birth to. That is Wrist World. Let's take it away.
Hi, we're the student team at Wristworld, a tech startup created by Loveworks leadership.
With mentoring from Trifecta Communications, our team has made an incredible line of augmented reality slap bands.
And since Christmas, we've been selling them in on-cue stores with huge success.
This year, our team got to go back to the New York International Toy Fair, where we got to meet Nolan Bushnell.
The founder of Atari and the father of the video game industry provided some great advice.
But the big news from Toy Fair was our awesome licensing deal.
We signed a popular international character for our wristbands, putting Wristworld on a global scale.
This brand new product will hit Amazon, OnQ, and other retailers just in time for the holiday shopping season.
Wristworld is truly going worldwide. Look out for our new product launch this October. To find out more, go to wrist.world.
Wristworld, all your wrists, gaming with the twist, augmented reality, a new game for you and me. 4 bands that you can see, explore them all in 3D. Wristworld, 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 Wristworld.
Oh, 1 minute. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Fred, and I was in season 10 of MasterChef. And today I'm with...
I'm Sherry from season 10 of MasterChef as well. And we are really excited to be here with Loveworks to cook with you guys. We're going to make an awesome flourless chocolate cake. So if there's anyone gluten-free out there, I know sometimes it's hard to find a good dessert. This is one. So you guys should all have a little cake. I have a little bundt cake. Fred, what kind do you have?
I had a little loaf that I cut into cubes just because I'm known for cutting my cake into cubes.
I think you guys probably have a muffin size. So
Yep.
we are going to show you guys how to make a glaze for that cake, and then we're going to plate it up for you.
Yep.
So the first step, Fred, I'll let you start.
Okay, so to start, you're going to have to take your dry ingredients. So we have not flour, powdered sugar, cocoa powder, and salt. And then to that, we're gonna mix it together first, just like with a whisk to remove any of your lumps. And
I like to use fleur de sel or a kosher salt rather than a table salt. If you do use a table salt, that helps to balance the sweetness. Just a tiny pinch. You don't need much.
Oh yeah, so like with chocolate or cocoa, it's just like it enhances it so much more. It's like a simple little trick you do just to make it like restaurant quality.
After you have this mixed really well.
Yeah, you have to make sure that like you have all your lumps out, and then to that you're gonna add your wet ingredients. So I have soy milk. What liquid are you using today, Sherry?
I'm just using regular cow's milk. You can use water. You can really use anything. Leftover coffee. If you had chai, pomegranate juice would be great. It would kind of give it a fruity flavor. Really any sort of liquid that would go with chocolate. So here I'm going to add cow's milk, but first I'm going to add a little bit of vanilla. And I don't really measure. I just kind of dump it in. Now, when we're adding the liquid to this too, we want to go little at a time. Otherwise, it's going to get too thin and you're just going to get a thin glaze. I like my glaze to be a little bit thicker, almost like a ganache.
Exactly.
This is basically a donut glaze though, right, Fred?
Yeah, exactly. Like, so when you dip anything into it, it's going to harden over it, just like how donut glaze would.
So like I said, just a little bit, kind of wet those dry ingredients up before you add more. You do want, a decent sized bowl. You don't need anything massive. Cereal bowl probably won't work with this. You'll have stuff everywhere.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Like, just make sure it's big enough to like hold 3 times your quantity that you're mixing, just so that way, like, you can whisk comfortably. And then with my soy milk, I actually already mixed vanilla extract into it, just to save some time. But, or you can even use like flavored milk because I know they have those in the grocery store.
Yeah, really any liquid would do. I mean, if I was topping this with like raspberries or something, a pomegranate juice would be really nice because it'll kind of give it that little bit of fruity flavor that'll kind of help to enhance those raspberries too.
Exactly. I'm just going to go with my...
Whisking it, you want it to be about this texture. Do you see? I don't know if you can see that. It just kind of drips from my whisk. It's not just running. This is a good thickness for me. If you like it thinner, that's cool too. Kind of you do you, whatever works. If you make it too thin, you can fix it by adding a little bit of additional powdered sugar. If you make it too thick, add a little bit of extra liquid.
Exactly. Really up to preference. And it's also because like since we're doing like slightly different things with our glazes, like it really depends. So like in Sherry's case, she's using it to glaze her bundt cakes. In my case, I'm using it as more of like a sauce on the bottom of the plate.
And now, one other really cool thing about this glaze is you can flavor this too. Like I really like dried flowers and lavender. I could add a little bit of lavender powder to this, cardamom powder. You can use all different sorts of things to flavor this. So go wild with that. If there's something you like, add it in. Orange zest would be amazing. All right, now we're gonna glaze. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a spoon and I have another plate. This is just, it's gonna get a little messy. So I have a different plate for my actual plating. Let me get this out of the way so you can see. But I'm just gonna take my spoon and some of the glaze and just kind of pour it over. I want it to fall over this cake. I don't want the entire thing to be covered with the glaze. I still want to see some of the cake peeking out too. How are you plating, Fred?
I'm going to go and start first with a circle of the glaze at the bottom. And then I'm going to go and put the pieces of cake around it. And I believe you guys have like fresh berries and some crushed nuts. So I'm going to use that just the garnish.
And I think you guys may have strawberries. So I grabbed some strawberries too, because I want to show you, I know for myself and Fred too, I'm pretty sure I can speak for you on this. We don't like to just throw a whole berry on a plate. Like,
no,
it just, it's kind of 19 something, not
1980s.
2020.
Yeah.
So, After my glaze has gone down, I am actually going to do something kind of fun. I'm going to take some of the leftover glaze with a pastry brush and just dip it in. And I'm going to make a swipe on my plate just for fun.
Nice. So I like have raspberries instead of strawberries. So I'm going to actually like slice off the tops a little bit. I want them to look like little rings almost, or like little hoops or two. just so that way you can see all the way through it like that. I feel like that way, like it gives more color and it gives more like air to the dish.
Yeah.
But strawberries work very beautifully too. If you like want to slice them like lengthwise into like little slivers, whatever
And
you
how I'm
have.
gonna do it is I want to keep some of the green on just because it looks pretty. Obviously you don't want to eat it, but sometimes when it comes to desserts, look pretty is sometimes better than practicality, right? Like,
Oh, for sure. I mean, I believe I heard a quote one time about it. It was like, it's like the umbrella on the banana split. You don't eat the umbrella, but it's there.
and if it's not there, you're sad. At least
Exactly.
I am.
You're missing
All right, so
something there.
I put like one little wedge there of the strawberry, and then I'm gonna kind of tilt this one under it a little bit.
Nice.
Okay. And just kind of work with it, whatever feels right for you. Like I said before,
Exactly.
you do you.
Like
think that's
pastry
good.
plating, it's like arts and crafts, really. Like that's how I see it.
Exactly. And then I'm gonna take some of my crushed pistachio. And I want to get even some kind of falling on the plate. I think it makes it look a little bit pretty. I like messy.
Oh, yeah, cascade. I'm doing something similar actually. So I have like my chocolate cakes with the glaze and the like sliced raspberries. I'm gonna go and start garnishing with some of the crushed pistachio as well, just along it.
And I
With the same
really like edible flowers. Right now, flowers and herbs, they're all in season. So if you have something fun in your garden, throw it on. These are little pansies. So I really like to use these in a lot of my desserts or even my savory food. I love flowers. I like to eat flowers.
We bonded over that. I still remember, like when I first met you, we were talking about like curries and flowers, and I was like, okay, we'll be friends forever.
Yes, I like to add flowers to my curries and all sorts of stuff. It just makes it look pretty, and you know, flowers actually can, depending on which flour you're using, it can really enhance the taste of a dish. So like in a curry, I love to use marigolds because they're slightly peppery and they just add a lot of really nice flavor to that curry. So here's my dish. I'm gonna hold it so it doesn't fall.
So in the line of like edible flowers, I'm actually using nasturtiums, which are these little peppery leaves. They pair really well with chocolate and they grow abundantly in my backyard. They also have a flower that is like orangish or yellowish. It's really pretty as well, but I'm mostly focusing on the leaves just because I want the greens to tie back in with the pistachio. Oh no.
And with the flower of the nasturtium, they're quite big. So one little tip that I like to do with bigger flowers, like if you go to the supermarket, a lot of times all you can find are orchids and they're huge. I like to slice them, kind of like you're chiffonading basil. I do that with the flower.
Oh, nice. I like to like pluck them by like their individual petals and just like scatter the petals. So this is my take on it. So we have the same flourless chocolate cake with the glazed pistachios, some sliced berries, and nasturtium leaves. And yeah, like just two different ways to play around with your chocolate cake. You can do so many different things with it. You could literally just take that little muffin, dip it with the glaze, and top it with the berries and the pistachios if you want. If you want to play around and do what me and Jerry did with it, by all means. It's like, you know, your world, your rules.
Yeah, this cake is also awesome without a glaze. It's like a super decadent brownie. So it's one of my family's favorite cakes. My kids go crazy over this. I hope you guys love it too. And thanks for supporting this cause. We're happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you guys from Loveworks. Thank you guys who are also here in the attendance of the event. And now we'll move on to our next video, which is featuring an alumni named Precious.
Thanks, chefs. Hi, I'm Precious. I am 20 years old, and I just want to tell my story about how Loveworks helped shape me to the young lady I am today. So growing up, I was kind of awkward and shy, and you can call me the bad student. I didn't do my work or anything, just didn't have anywhere or any hopes for growing up. My counselor had called me to the office, and she gave me the great opportunity to join Loveworks, and I said yes. Loveworks helped shape me and build my character, help me break out of my shell. I got to join the Chick-fil-A Leader Academy, and I was very in love with that so much that I am currently employed at Chick-fil-A now, and I go to Roux State, and I'm working for my associate's degree, and then I will be going to Stillwater to get my bachelor's degree in business. I just wanted to say thank you for listening to my story, and thank you Loveworks a lot for helping me a lot.
Good evening, everyone. As we bring the night to a close, I just wanted to say thank you for sitting around our virtual table tonight. For those of you that I don't know, I'm Evan Fay. I have the honor of serving as the board chair for Loveworks Leadership alongside a roster of community builders, and business leaders that many of you all know and love. We thank you for sharing in our vision of the future and letting us to reflect a little bit on the past success that we've had this year and on our history as an organization. And we really want to invite you to be part of the LoveWorks family from tonight forward in making dreams a reality for the students that we serve. When I first heard of LoveWorks, it was about 10 years ago. The organization was still in its infancy and operating out of our Lindsay Street location, serving after-school programs for middle schoolers, providing leadership training, providing mentorship, encouragement, and most importantly, snacks. Since then, the organization has certainly come a long way. We have Raising Little Leaders for birth through 3 years old. We have Chick-fil-A Leadership Academy for our high school students, and we have our traditional after-school leadership programming for middle school students. The economic struggles caused by the COVID-19 pandemic are certainly not lost on me. I know that many of you all are entrepreneurs, business owners, and community leaders in your own right, struggling to make tough decisions about payroll, how to serve your customers and keep the lights on, and about charitable giving. It's also not lost on me that each of you is here for a reason, whatever that reason might be. Whether it was a friend invited you over for dinner, whether it's you didn't want to cook dinner, whether you've been a longtime supporter of LoveWorks and believe in our mission, or wanted to try something new. We thank you for being here. To our generous donors, we thank you. Everything that you've seen tonight, all of the trajectory, all of the lives being changed, that's powered by you. We couldn't do this work without you. We couldn't dream big and scale our programming during a global pandemic without you. We couldn't have 2 student-run businesses. We couldn't have a garden. We couldn't have a commercial kitchen or a film studio or a code lab or even a ball pit without you. So from the bottom of our hearts, we thank you. We also invite all of you who are not currently part of the LoveWorks family through giving to consider giving to the organization either a one-time gift or regularly supporting our operations. We have big dreams. We hope to scale the organization's reach, not just in Norman, not just in the Oklahoma City metro area, but throughout the region. And COVID-19 has actually given us a wonderful platform to think about that in a new way, virtually. If you're wondering where to give, I invite you to go to our website right now at www.loveworksleadership.org. At the top right, you'll find options to donate, financial resources, and ways to sign up and volunteer with some of our after-school programming and our virtual leadership curriculum. I'm asking you to do one or both of those things right now as we bring this night to an end and celebrate the good work that we've done and our big vision for the future. So welcome to the LoveWorks family. As we bring this night to a close, I just want to say thank you as well to all of our MasterChefs. The food was incredible, and I probably will never end up cooking dinner for myself again. I look forward to these boxes being delivered to my house every night, and you guys have really spoiled us. I also want to say thank you to our LoveWorks staff and to the board members that I get to share the responsibility of leading this organization with. Each of you pour your heart and soul into governing well and making sure that we are good stewards of the resources that we've been given. And I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for that. Finally, I want to say thank you to the students that shared their stories tonight. You are the reason we do what we do and that this organization is as successful as it is. And we thank you for sharing its impact on your life and hope that you'll continue to find opportunities to get involved as alumni to our LoveWorks community. To all of you guys, have fun, be safe. Thank you for joining us tonight and for helping us allow students to discover their passions and live into their dreams. Thank you.
So our favorite was actually Amberly's, because hers, it wasn't just a peanut butter jelly sandwich. There was honey on it. There was so much of it that when you bit into it, some of it actually oozed out the side. So just on taste and just the sandwich, we voted Amberly as our favorite sandwich of the night.
Congratulations, Amberly. Good job. Everybody did a great job being a part of this. Thanks, Sam. Excellent. Very creative.
Wonderful job. High five.
My big dream is to become a robotic engineer. My big dream is to become a music teacher. My big dream is to be an artist and a baker.